Even the babies are happy to be here this morning. So I haven't heard much from Chris and Margie, but I know that they're doing good and they're super blessed. And like I said on Wednesday night, be praying for divine connections. More divine connections. Amen. We have the same people all the time, I feel. And I just know that when Chris was sent out last week, we sent him out for, and don't get me wrong, the connections that we have are amazing. Great. Are they amazing? Yeah, Andre and Jen Trinkout, Jean, your daughter, was just absolutely, just 100%. She brought 120% is what she did. And she didn't even know it, just so you know. She brought 120% and was just like, there you go. So it was really good. So we have like all these connections, and we want to overtake the globe for the kingdom. Do you want to overtake the globe with the kingdom? Is that not the point? Okay, so the point has already been established. God has already established his kingdom. Has he already established his kingdom? Little Violet, what a beauty. He's already established his kingdom, and now he's taking you. So this morning, what I want to touch on is just hearing from God and how we get our news from the Father. The last couple of weeks, I hear Chris and Dave and all these guys talking about the news and how they, we listen to Fox News and CNN and all these places, and they just report bad news. Even if it's news, it's still bad news. I'm here to tell you that you're going to change that. You are the vocal point of the Father. You are the vocal point. So God's already established his kingdom. Now, where are you in the kingdom? Where are you in the kingdom? Do you feel worth it? Do you feel less than worth it? Do you feel like the price wasn't good enough? Do you forget about the price that was paid? I think sometimes we just get off course just a smidge, and we don't know how to lock eyes with the Father. When we get into worship, I want to just challenge you. It doesn't matter who's singing the song. That person is the vessel that God has chosen for that moment. Right. And they're leading you into the kingdom of the Father. There's no other place I'd rather be. Yep. So if we take advantage, imagine if we really took advantage of all those points. Of as soon as the music kicks in, we're not thinking about. Sometimes I have to wash away things. I don't know what I'm thinking about different things that are going on for the meeting, or what I'm eating for dinner, or whatever it is. I'm a hungry guy. I want to know what I'm eating for dinner. Right? I was texting Frank the other day. He went over to his mom's house. They were taking off for a while, and I said, "How was the pizza?" He said, "I had 7 slices." I said, "Frank, 7 slices. We're hungry. Imagine if you were hungry like that for the Father. Imagine. It says you can have whatever you ask or whatever you think. So how much power is in the imagination? Whatever you dwell on is going to come to life in your life. Whatever you dwell on. I was thinking about you the other day, Katrina, and she was preaching a couple Wednesday nights ago, and she said she almost passed out in the spirit doing dishes. She's dwelling on the Father while she's doing her dishes. It's a constant. It's got to be a constant prayer life. It's got to be a constant fellowship is what it is. We have to be in constant fellowship with the Father. Let him just engulf you this morning.
That's right. I agree.
Even as the words come out of my mouth, just think about the Father. Think about what he has you to do. Think about your place in the kingdom. Think about the people that you're going to affect. Think about the babies that you're going to have. Think about the grandbabies that you're going to have. Think about the grandbabies that you're holding. You know, there's that line, I think it's kind of dumb, but it's like if I knew grandkids were so much fun, I would have had them first. And I'm always thinking, well, what about your kids? That really makes them feel good. You know what I'm saying? Well, get out of the way here. I want my grandkid. I just think we soak up a lot of time with trivial things. We soak up a lot of time with trivial things. And there's a lot of ways that we get lost in Facebook and Instagram. And so you know, those things were created by the Father. Every idea comes from the Father. Now, when that idea hits that vessel, what's that vessel? Maybe it was Led Zeppelin in a rock song. Maybe it was, I was reading up on Joyce Myers. I think she was 75. Please don't watch that. I was like, wow. But I was reading the book Battlefield of the Mind, because this is where I'm going. It's here. It's all here. We don't hold swords anymore. The battlefield is the mind. And whatever you think on, whatever you dwell on, whatever you do is what you become. What are you becoming? What are you dwelling on? Because the things of the Father are good. In him is no darkness. It's word, right? In him is no darkness. He's forgotten everything that we've done as far as the east is from the west. When we bring these things up before the Father, he doesn't know what we're talking about. What he sees is you and your place. What he sees is you and your gift. And now he's already established his kingdom, and he wants you to move in it. So how are you going to move? Do you know how to move? Have you ever heard from the Father? How's your prayer life? I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just asking questions. You know what I'm saying? These are questions that, to me, it's all about self-evaluation. I can't fix you. I can only fix me. And sometimes I have a hard time doing that. Where's my brain go sometimes? Where do my thoughts go sometimes? I got to work on me. So if we all take a second to work on ourselves and evaluate, where am I right now? Where am I right now? And it's not a matter, the devil wants you to get all caught up in the fact, well, you could be praying more and you could be seeking the Father more. No, you can just be who God designed you to be. Amen. And you don't have to go any farther than that. Because as you walk inside of your design, that design, I'm here to tell you this morning, is perfection. Amen. That design is perfection. And nothing else, nothing more, and nothing less. Right. The design the Father has for you is perfection. He doesn't design junk. When he puts you here with a purpose to affect other people's lives for the kingdom. Number one reason. So I love Pastor Chris's testimony. When he was trying to get the boss at Universal was trying to push him forward. You got to go. You got to move forward. You got to climb the food chain, the ladder, whatever you call it. I'm fighting for the thought. And he says to his boss, "Do you know why you can trust me? Do you know why you want to do this to me? Because I put God first, my family second, and this job third." The boss didn't want to hear that. You think the boss wants to hear that? I put you third? Well, I'm the one that's signing your paycheck so you can feed your family. This is what the boss is thinking. But not Big Papa. Big Papa's thinking, if I don't put God first in my life, then everything else falls apart. How many of you have strived after money? Have strived after some sort of fame? Have strived after, when you look at your Instagram account, how many people do you have? How many friends do you have? We'll call them friends. When I was growing up in high school, my mom said I didn't have friends. I said, well, I have lots of friends. She goes, you don't have one friend in that school. I said, okay, what are they? She goes, they're called acquaintances. But now when you think back, think about your high school career, and you're like, were they really my friends, or were they out to destroy me? If you're on a basketball team, they all wanted your starting position. If you're on the football team, they all wanted your starting position. They're out after you. They teach you, the world teaches you to compete. So when that competition hits you, now you're not worth it unless you make it. And if you're in second place, they teach you that that's the first loser. That's what I was taught. You lose, you're the first loser. Second place, not good enough. How are we going to make sectionals? How are we going to go to states? Come on, step up your game. Second place is the first loser. How terrible is that? These were grown men and women teaching us. But that's all they know. So I'm here to tell you that in the kingdom, there's not a second place. And if there is, it was the devil, and he was the first loser. He got kicked out, right? Like lightning. Like lightning, he fell from heaven. There was our first loser. And after Jesus, that was the only loser. It's a finished work. Finished work. I shouldn't even actually say after Jesus. I mean, from the beginning of time, God saw you, and he formed you, and he knew exactly what you were going to do. He knew exactly what you were going to be. And now what he wants to do is he wants to hold your hand, and he wants to walk side by side with you, and he wants to show you the things of the kingdom, and he wants you to hear his voice. And that's all he cares about. Because he knows that if he can get your attention, he has everything. He has everything. Because as soon as your attention shifts, well, now you're on to the next thing. So are we keeping God as our number one? And then our family and our jobs, and then the order goes down from there. If you take the order out of it, though, I love God, and that allows me to love my family the way that I need to love my family. As I walk with God, I grow closer to Amy. As I walk with God, I grow closer to Ava and all my other girls. Isn't it cool? But then when we strive for money, oh, well, they're forgotten because I have to work overtime, and I have to do this, and I have to do that. Oh, don't worry, Ava, we'll hang out at some point in life. When you're older, have some grandkids for me. That's what the saying is anyway. How awful is that? That's craziness. Man. Colossians 1. I was looking back in my notes a while ago. Saw the scripture. Just fit so perfect. Colossians 1:9. Since we first heard about you, we've kept you always in our prayers, that you would receive the perfect knowledge of God's pleasure over your lives. The perfect knowledge of God's pleasure over your lives, making you reservoirs of every kind of wisdom and spiritual understanding. We pray that you would walk in the ways of true righteousness, pleasing God in every good thing you do. Then you'll become fruit-bearing branches, yielding to his life and maturing in the rich experience of knowing God in his fullness. And we pray that you would be energized with all his explosive power from the realm of his magnificent glory, filling you with great hope. So we need to realize that we are reservoirs of wisdom. So we're hearing from the Father. We're getting our news from the Father. And as we get this news, as we're getting this information, it's filling us up. Colossians 1:9, it's filling us up. It's filling our minds. These are the thoughts that God wants you to dwell on. He wants you to have a reservoir of wisdom. He wants you to have a reservoir of wisdom for what? To help others. Yep. True. He wants your vat to be so full and overflowing that it's not just spilling and wasting itself onto the ground. It wants to spill onto others. How often do you hear the preacher preach or the person sing or your friend talk and you're like, I just want that. I just want that. Do you know why you want it? Because as God made his kingdom perfect, he placed that gift into you as well. And he wants you to do the same thing that person's doing. So you're sitting in front of that person, getting the wisdom from the reservoir to then spread it out to the other people. And so many times we hold on to it. So many times we hold on to it and we do nothing with it. Nothing. I'm speaking from experience. I still do it. I'll see people. I always say this. When you see people walking down the street, Mike was saying, I see this guy on the side of the road. He was telling me probably a year ago, you're seeing some guy on the side of the road and you just pulled over. You were leaving some job of sales and there was a guy on the road talking. He knew him, didn't know, I don't know. But what happened was God spoke to Mike to speak to this man that was on the sidewalk and he obeyed. Right. So that obedience is the first key. If you don't have that obedience, how does the wisdom in the reservoir of your life get onto that person? So you first obey, and then you spill the wisdom. He's filled you with all knowledge and all wisdom. Yeah. And we need each other for this reason. Do you believe that? Yeah. That we need each other for that reason. Because we've all been filled with all the spiritual blessings. Right. And it said in Isaiah, no eye has seen, no ear has heard. But now, in Corinthians, it says, but now, what's been born of the Spirit has been brought to you and brought to life in you, so that way you can see the things of the Spirit, and you can hear the things of the Spirit, and you can operate in these things now. Are you going to be able to operate in them all? No. You can't operate in them all at all times, is what I'm saying. Right. But what is your specialty? Right. What is your gift? What's the thing that you have that the other guy doesn't? That's what I want to know. Don't worry about what the other guy has. This is where self-evaluation comes in. You get so worried about having a microphone and preaching or playing a guitar or doing something, and you get lost in the sauce. And that's what the devil wants you to do. He wants you to dwell on that guitar. Man, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. And then your life's just filled with wishes, and that's it. Empty dreams and empty promises, because that's what the devil is. He's full of empty dreams and he's full of empty promises. But my God has a plan for your life. And he's filled you with every spiritual blessing. So I know that when I'm in a room and I need to prophesy, I can do that. I am not a prophet by any stretch of the imagination. But when I need to imagine that, I can call on that. So we can all call on the gifts. But I want you to know, I want you to figure out what your specialty is. I remember I was down in Wysox when the church first started down there. And do we have someone from Wysox? We do. Welcome. What are you doing here this morning? Oh, cool. Well, you're welcome at JC. I remember I was at the fire station and we were just doing a Bible study basically. And I remember these long, skinny tables and everybody's sitting there. And it was such a cool meeting. I love those meetings where you can just kind of like get down in the nitty gritty with these people and just go after it, get some questions, answers, and like go at it with each other. And so we were doing that. And all of a sudden this lady says, hey, there's a family that needs some prayer. Would you pray for them? I was goofing around and I said no. And I said, of course, bring them in. Bring them in. So they stepped through the doors of the room. And I saw this young man. He's probably like maybe one of those two boys back there, ages. He walks through the door, and I just lock eyes with him. I stopped what I was doing, and I'm not even joking. I felt the mantle of Andre Bronkhorst drop on me like he was with me. I looked right at the boy, and I don't even know what I said. It doesn't matter what I said. All I know is that when he received that word, his whole face changed. The person that was with him said, your teacher just told you this, and your dad just told you this, and your mom just told you. I told you, you've got to listen. So obviously, as he was on his daily venture, and the parents spoke to him, and the teachers spoke to him, or principal, whatever it was, he wasn't quite getting it yet. And by the way, as soon as I was done delivering that word, Andre was gone. I was just like, hope you heard it. I hope you heard what I just said. I don't know what I said. I couldn't repeat it. All I know is that if I didn't obey in that moment, what would happen to that young man? What would have happened to that boy? Would he maybe struggled the rest of his life? I mean, I do firmly believe if we don't say something, the rocks are going to cry out. And it's not some rock on the ground that's going to open its mouth. It's another vessel that's been filled with the same Spirit that is actually listening to the Father that's going to deliver the message. But that day, I delivered the message, and that young man was set free. You have to be a willing vessel. You have to be a willing vessel. So that's the question this morning is, are you a willing vessel? Are you getting your news from the Father? What's your ticker tape look like? Pastor Chris always preaches about like the news feed, the ticker tape that goes across the bottom. And sometimes he has that and he just reads, prophesies, gets his daily news, starts praying for people. He wakes up with these like actors and NBA players or whatever in his head, and he immediately just starts praying for them. There's a reason why the thoughts are coming into your head. Because Father has a plan. Father has a plan for you. And he's got a plan for those people that he's bringing to you too. So he's filled you up like a reservoir. 1 Colossians 9. So if he's filling us like a reservoir with wisdom and knowledge, then we must absolutely 100% know that the battlefield is in the mind. Do you believe that? Yeah. That's where our struggles are. It's all up here. All up here. Maybe we can go to Psalms 18. Psalms 18:18. Excuse me. The scripture is amazing. When I was at my weakest, my enemy attacked. But the Lord held on to me. His love broke open the way, and he brought me into a beautiful, broad place. He rescued me because his delight is in me.
Amen.
He rescued you because his delight is in you. When I was at my weakest, my enemies attacked, but the Lord held on to me. His love broke open the way, and he brought me into a beautiful, broad place. He rescued me because his delight is in me.
So good.
He rescued you.
Yeah.
He rescued you. He rescued you. Not because you needed it, because he wanted to. He wanted to rescue you because from the beginning of time, his delight was in you. His delight has always been in you. You've always been the Father's love story. You've always been the Father's love story. No matter where you've been, man. No matter where you've been. I've been in some holes. I've been in some dark holes. And this thing tells me, this Bible tells me, this word, this life, this light tells me that I'm his delight. And he broke open the way for me. It said it opened broad, wide, so I could see. He took the blinders off, is what it's saying. The devil put the blinders on and he put me into a cave. And he said, this is where you need to go. This is where you need to stay. But God said, no, I'm holding on to you, son. I'm holding on to you, daughter.
Amen.
Stop asking why. Maybe there's somebody watching on live too. Maybe there's somebody, you're asking why. You're asking why. Stop asking why. It's because his delight's always been you.
Right.
He rescued you because he's always loved you.
So good.
Because he's always loved you. And it's those thoughts, and it's those moments, and it's those times that I realize that when the Father looks on me like that, that's how I can love my wife.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we have to pull each other up. Sometimes we have to pull each other out of something.
Right.
You be the strongest man in the world. Your shoulders ain't big enough.
True.
They'll never be big enough. We need each other.
Yeah, that's right.
We need each other. Wow. His delight is in me. His love broke open the way and brought me into a beautiful, broad place. He rescued me because his delight is in me. So maybe you didn't feel worthy this morning. Stop. Stop. Feel worthy. Feel called. Let's go to Galatians 2. Wow. Maybe I could grab a tissue. He's got me crying. Thanks. That's the Father's love. He puts you into such a place. You have to feel so worthy. Stop feeling low. Stop feeling not good enough.
Come on. So good.
Feel worthy. Step up to the Father. Lock eyes with him.
So good.
Step up and just look at him and say, Father, I love you. I thank you for giving me everything. You've blessed me with every spiritual thing. Galatians 2:20. My old identity has been crucified with Messiah and no longer lives. For the nails of his cross crucified me with him. And now, everybody say, and now. The essence of this new life is no longer mine. For the anointed one lives his life through me.
Yes.
We live in union as one. My life, my new life, is empowered by the faith of the Son of God, who loves me so much that he gave himself for me and dispenses his life into mine. So good. For the anointed one lives his life through me. So that's what I'm saying. You are worthy. The anointed one lives his life through you. How is he going to do that? Salvation is the key. You know, some people think it's like everything. Salvation, just get me saved, and we get out there, like, get them saved, get them in here. Now, just let them sit there and give money and stuff. No. Not here. No, not here. You guys need to say, not here.
Not here.
Because we live kingdom.
Yes.
We live activation. It's got to be an active spirit. For the anointed one lives his life through me. So you are worthy. Maybe you could say this morning, I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I'm worthy of the call
I'm worthy of the call
that the Father has called me to.
that the Father has called me to.
So much power when you realize what you are.
Yeah, amen.
And you start to use these gifts. Start to use what you are. So the Father thought so much of us. Let me rewind for a second. Back to the salvation thing. Salvation is the key that brings you into the kingdom. Salvation isn't everything. If it was everything, why do we have gifts? Why do we have other things to do?
Right.
If all we had to do was one thing, well, you do have one thing to do to get into those gifts. That is, get saved. But let's not dwell on just the salvation. But let's go after the things that God has given us. It's a key. I just was praying about salvation one day, and the Lord showed me this massive golden skeleton key and just said, it's the key.
Right.
So when it's offered to you, this key is offered to you, and now you have a choice, right? You can use the key or you cannot use the key. So I just picture every salvation, this guy with a big skeleton key, just jamming it in this hole and twisting this lock open and just kicking this door open. Or sometimes they open the door a little bit and kind of take a look inside. How are you saved?
Come on.
Was it radical?
Yeah.
I love testimonies. Because like I said, we were doing testimonies on Wednesday night, and it's like I said on Wednesday. The testimony isn't about where you were. It's about where you are.
Right.
So when you give your testimony, don't get down to the nitty-gritty with people.
Right.
You know what you can say? You can say, I relate with that. Or you can say, I related with that. But this is me now. This is what you have to look forward to. And that's a matter of being worthy or not. That's a big statement. This is what you have to look forward to. Can you say that to somebody? I have, and I will continue to do so. Because if they don't have something to look forward to, if you don't give someone a goal, if you don't give them something to aspire to, what are they going to do? You are the salt and you are the light. It's up to you, man. It's up to you. What's your salt look like? You Himalayan? You that pink sea salt stuff? Iodized? Inodized? You table salt? You just that white stuff? I love that big, huge salt. You know when they come around the table with pepper? I love pepper. But I like salt too, but I love pepper. But if I just substitute, I want to be the pepper of the earth. When I'm going to get to heaven, I'm going to tell God, I wanted to be the pepper because, you know, when that big guy comes around with like the huge pepper thing and at the restaurant, he's like, do you want ground pepper? And you're like, yes. And you just tell me when to stop. Kind of like the Parmesan cheese, you know, they just keep on going with that Parmesan cheese. And they're like, are they going to tell me to stop at any time soon? It's getting empty, people. Save some for the next guy. You know, it's like, no, just have them pour it on. So pour your salt onto people. You've got plenty of it. You got more than you need. You got more than you need. Sometimes we have these thoughts, and I'm like, you know, me and Dave are working pretty close together, and sometimes because we both minister, I'm thinking, do I want to share this thought with him or not? Because he's going to steal it the next time he has a microphone. Dave, if you're watching, I know it. And so I'm always thinking, what do I want to tell? All right, let's tell him. You know, don't hold back those thoughts that you have, especially from your spouse, and especially from your kids. At the end of my day, I always know that I can rely on my wife, Amy, and I can rely on my 4 girls. Nobody else. This is what I have. This is my family. This is what God gave me. I love all of you. I will work with all of you. I will honor all of you. I will do whatever I need to do in my gifting to help you. But I just know at the end of the day, this is what I have. This gorgeous, beautiful woman that I can just spill onto my salt, hopefully. What are you spilling? What are you spilling? Lord spoke to me one time about that. Sitting in the car. Man, I was ticked. I was so mad I was working with this guy. He got me so furious. And usually I'd walk straight in and I would dump all my garbage on Aim. And she'd be cooking or doing something for me. Whatever. House stuff. I like doing house stuff too. But she's doing something for me. I walk through the door. Can you believe what this idiot did today? Well, hello. It's nice to see you today, too. I love you still. You know that, right? I don't know where this is going. So I sat in the car. I was so mad. And then all of a sudden, the Lord said, your wife is not a garbage disposal. And I was so stricken by the Spirit at that moment. I was like, okay, Father, teach me. Teach me. Hear from him. Hear from the Father. Get your news from him. Get the ticker tape moving. Your wife is not a garbage disposal. That's pretty simple. That's how the Father speaks to me. He tells me things. He wants to tell you things. He wants to be so intricately woven in your life, cavarring with you, to be intertwined with you. He wants you to hear every word that comes out of his mouth. And the thing is sometimes I think God feels like he's fishing. And he just keeps sending a line out, and it's like you're on that shore, right, guys? And you know that bass, the bass is underneath that little tree right there, and you're just flicking that little popper in there, and you're trying to pull the bass out. And I think sometimes that's what God's doing. He's trying to catch you. And sometimes I know that if I know where that bass's nest is, they're so protective, they don't have to be hungry. But as soon as I attack their house, wham, and you got them on. Am I right? Yeah. And sometimes he's coming after you. He's just throwing that popper at your house. And sometimes it feels, boom, like you're getting shaken. Well, you're getting shaken because you're not listening. Sometimes we just need to open up those spiritual ears just a little bit and get them tuned in and kavar with the Father and just walk with him. I love it. Oh, man. I'm going to pick on Katrina again. I was reading back in my notes. You preached on a Wednesday a while ago, and I thought this was so cool because in 1 Peter 2:5, everybody knows the scripture, right? Royal priesthood. You are the royal priesthood. And priest means location. I'm so glad that I take notes. I can flick to this and I'm like, the priest is location. So I am the priest. So that means I am God's location. I'm God's location. You're God's location. You are his royal priesthood. You are the chosen one. So how long are we going to talk about it? I'm not going to say every. A lot of people and preachers that I know, they love going to this. They love going to it. They love calling it. They love activating. And I'm not saying they don't live it. What I'm saying is it's just like it's spoken so much that it's like a catchphrase. Yeah, true. And you don't realize what it is. But isn't it cool when you think about being a priest, I'm a royal priesthood, and you're like, well, Big Papa, he's the pastor, so he's the royal priesthood, or you start to analyze these things. But then when you actually can pick apart the words in the Greek and the Hebrew, and it says that priest equals location, you can plug yourself into the royal priesthood. Because he lives in you, you are his location. Say, I am his location. We have to know it. We have to know it in order to grow this thing. The song Mark that Bradley sang. Wow, that was powerful. I was lost. I've been marked by heaven. I've been marked. Have you been marked? Yes. Have you been marked? Yes. He's already chosen you. The deal's already done. The deal's done. You're already chosen. You can run and you can hide. He's going to find you. He's looking for you. No. He's actually not even looking for you. He knows where you are. How awesome is that? Just think about the Father for a second, that he knows where you are all the time. All the time. He doesn't even have to look. Hey, Mark, where are you, buddy? I need you to go pray for this person. Nope. I already have it in my head. He dropped it in there because of my relationship with him. See somebody walking down the street. Oh, can I pray for you? Okay. I love it. I love it. When we realize that it's not just the verses, like I said, we just throw the verses out there. But that's all we do. We just throw them out there. When's it reality to you? When does it sink in? When does it sink in? That Father loves you so much. He gave his only Son. so that we can live forever with him. And we don't even have to wait. We don't have to wait for the sweet by and by. It's your choice to jump in. It's your choice. Now, I just wanted to share with you for a second the way that I hear from God, and it's kind of crazy, but I don't know if I chose it or he gave it to me. I just got before him one day and I was like, Lord, you've called me to get people healed. And I don't know how to hear from you. I don't know what to do. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and it was like praying in the wind. It just kept going out, and I felt like nothing was coming back. So finally, the Father showed me. And it was like the other day where, Ava, go ahead and stand up. It's my daughter, Ava. And I was at the bottom of the stairs at Chris's house, and Ava was helping Chris carry some sheetrock up the stairs. And I don't know if you've ever carried sheetrock with someone. Contractors, you know what I'm talking about. The guy in the back end, I mean, he can mess everything up. If you're holding the piece like this and the other guy's holding it like this, you know, you're wobbling. So I see her at the end of the stairs, and Chris is struggling walking this thing up the stairs, and I said, Ava, you're carrying the sheetrock the wrong way. You've got to switch your hands and do this. I'm like, do I have to teach you everything? And of course, my mentor, Big Papa, was standing there and turns around and says, well, that's your job, isn't it? I was thinking, oh, yeah, I guess it is. I mean, but what I'm saying is how easy is it to forget? Yeah. This is my daughter. I'll do anything for her. How do I forget? It just slips sometimes, just slips. But it takes that person, that father, to turn around and go, remember when I taught you? Remember when you sat around my table at 6 a.m. for 2 days a week, and I just discipled you? You remember that? So at that point, you can sit down, thanks. At that point, I was done praying. I was done praying. I was hearing nothing. So I just got in and I said, Father, show me. Yeah. Show me. I want to see healings. I want to see healings on a level that I want to see the people healed before I go pray for them. Yeah. Before anybody straps a microphone on me, I want to see what I'm going to do. Right. And I know it's possible because I've heard it. Chris went up to Clark Taylor one day, dude from Australia, and he said, how do you see it? He goes, I just get before the Father, and I let him show it to me. And I see it in the vision. I just close my eyes, and I could see that person get out of the wheelchair. He even said, like tonight, there's going to be someone that gets out of a wheelchair. And, this is also going to happen. And they went to the meeting, and it happened. That's the walk I want. That's the walk I want. And I won't settle for anything else. Amen. I've seen cancer leave the body. I've seen migraines go. I've seen bones healed. I've seen it. But I want to see it before it happens. I just get pumped. And it's like, so then, when it comes to, we do a miracle pool here. So I sat before the Father. I said, I want to see it. So what he did is he showed me a body, and the body parts light up. It's easy. I literally shut my eyes. It's like the Pepto-Bismol bottle. And I can see, that's just a gastro thing, the tummy. But I see the body, and then all of a sudden I'll see an elbow. I go, okay, what else, Father? And then I'll see a hip. And the things light up. It's like playing the game Operation. It lights up for me. I'm not kidding. And I come in and I go, okay, somebody's got a problem with an elbow and someone's got a problem with a hip. 3 people come up for an elbow and 3 people come up for a hip. You got to trust him. You got to trust him that what he's saying to you is spirit. It's truth. Everything here, everything around us, everything that we are, everything that we do was birthed by the Spirit. So this is spirit. I'm spirit. It was all made by him. He spoke from the Spirit everything into existence. Everything into existence. Isn't it cool?
Yeah, so good.
Thought that was awesome last week, too, with Pastor Chris, with Isaiah 54. Maybe we can turn there quick, too. I want to read that again. Just in case you guys weren't here, that was amazing and such an awesome light. Whoops, sorry. Ecclesiastes. I must be talking with Frank this week. He sent me these verses. There we go. Verse 16 in Isaiah 54. Behold, I have created the blacksmith who blows the coals in the fire. That's you. Who brings forth an instrument for his works. And I have created the spoiler to destroy. So I just saw the instrument for his work. He's brought you forth. He's birthed you forth. There's a spoiler. There's a destroyer. He needs you. He needs exactly what he's given you to bring it to the table to help everybody conquer their problems. Everybody. So when Chris was talking last week, he's about, are you that coal that fell out of the fire? And then you know how they glow red and then they go black and white and they start to cool down? Or are you one in there? And I had one of those pumper things for my wood stove. I used to, I love that thing. Because as much oxygen as I could put on that fire just cooks, doesn't it? So have you rolled out or are you in? And are you letting God blow on you? Are you letting the wind of the Spirit move you? He wants to blow on you. He wants the fire to be so bright, so big. And that's what he wants to give to you. He wants you to take that thing. He wants you to take it. That gift. He wants you to use it to its fullest potential.
Yeah, amen.
We have to. We have to. So how are we going to get into position to do this? How do we get ourselves into a place that we can see what the Father's doing, stay focused on what we have to do in the natural? You have natural needs, right? Got to work, got to eat, feed our families, houses. Is that a distraction or is that a blessing? I have an old farmhouse from 1849 that I'm ripping apart. Actually putting it back together now. Thank God, right? It's only been half a decade. But is it a blessing? Or is it a curse? So how do you stay focused? I'll tell you. You count it all joy. If you can count it all joy, if you can look at everything in your life as a blessing, something that's been given to you by God, get the distractions out of the way. You're living in it right there.
So good.
It even says count it all joy when you fall into various trials.
Right.
Because God's got something around the corner.
Yeah.
He's got something waiting for you there.
Amen. Yeah, amen.
He wants to bless you.
Yeah.
It's almost like this picture, like, this ceiling full of balloons. And when you win some competition, you're pulling that string, and then all those balloons are just falling down on you. You watch the Super Bowl, and all the guys are going crazy. They're in the confetti. They're in the balloons. Are you into it? Are you in the confetti? Are you in the balloons? God's already pulled. He's actually waiting for you to pull the string, so you know. He wants you to pull the string. He says, okay, I've got all these blessings for you. Everything's lined up. Okay. Here's your salvation. Got the key. Opened it up. Now what? Walk into this room. Pull the string. You got to pull the string. Until you pull the string, until you pull the trigger, it doesn't happen.
Right. Very true. It's true.
Don't hesitate. When the Father speaks, the worst thing we can do is hesitate. We've got to move. We've got to step into that thing. We've got to pull the string. Confetti don't fly unless there's a trigger. You're the trigger. Be the trigger. Amen?